Hey friends, how are you doing today? I hope you're feeling blessed and staying in God's presence, and if not, I hope you feel uplifted after today's video. If you're new here, welcome to His Princess Christian community where we read a chapter of the Bible every day and then discuss it afterwards and in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow and it opens the door for more people to join our community. And while you're at it, check out the description box. We got a lot of great stuff in there. So today we're reading Joshua chapter 8, but before we get started, I wanted to say a prayer if you wouldn't mind bowing your heads with me. Dear God, thank you for bringing us together here on His Princess Christian community. Thank you for opening the door for people to join our community, for connecting us and strengthening our bond. Thank you for opening our eyes, our ears, our hearts, and our minds to your word. Thank you for your wisdom, understanding, and clarity as we seek to interpret your word. And thank you for the courage to apply it to our daily lives. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, Joshua chapter 8. Then the Lord said to Joshua, "Do not be afraid or discouraged. Take all your fighting men and attack Ai, for I have given you the king of Ai, his people, his town, and his land. You will destroy them as you destroyed Jericho and its king. But this time you may keep the plunder and the livestock for yourselves. Set an ambush behind the town." So Joshua and all the fighting men set out to attack Ai. Joshua chose 30,000 of his best warriors and sent them out at night with these orders: hide an ambush close behind the town and be ready for action. When our main army attacks, the men of Ai will come out to fight as they did before, and we will run away from them. We will let them chase us until we have drawn them away from the town. For they will say, "The Israelites are running away from us as they did before." Then, while we are running from them, you will jump up from your ambush and take possession of the town, for the Lord your God will give it to you. Set the town on fire as the Lord has commanded. You have your orders. So they left and went to the place of ambush between Bethel and the west side of Ai. But Joshua remained among the people in the camp that night. Early the next morning, Joshua roused his men and started towards Ai, accompanied by the elders of Israel. All the fighting men who were with Joshua marched in front of the town and camped on the north side of Ai, with a valley between them and the town. That night Joshua sent about 5,000 men to lie in ambush between Bethel and Ai, on the west side of the town. So they stationed the main army north of the town and the ambush west of the town. Joshua himself spent the night in the valley. When the king of Ai saw the Israelites across the valley, he and all his army hurried out early in the morning and attacked the Israelites at a place overlooking the Jordan Valley. But he didn't realize there was an ambush behind the town. Joshua and the Israelites' army fled towards the wilderness as though they were badly beaten. Then all the men in the town were called out to chase after them. In this way, they were lured away from the town. There was not a man left in Ai or Bethel who did not chase after the Israelites, and the town was left wide open. Then the Lord said to Joshua, "Point the spear in your hand towards Ai, for I will hand the town over to you." Joshua did as he had commanded. As soon as Joshua gave this signal, all the men in ambush jumped up from their position and poured into the town. They quickly captured it and set it on fire. When the men of Ai looked behind them, smoke from the town was filling the sky, and they had nowhere to go, for the Israelites who had fled in the direction of the wilderness now turned on their pursuers. When Joshua and all the other Israelites saw that the ambush had succeeded and that smoke was rising from the town, they turned and attacked the men of Ai. Meanwhile, the Israelites who were inside the town came out and attacked the enemy from the rear. So the men of Ai were caught in the middle, with the Israelite fighters on both sides. Israel attacked them, and not a single person survived or escaped. Only the king of Ai was taken alive and brought to Joshua. When the Israelite army finished chasing and killing all the men of Ai in the open fields, they went back and finished off everyone inside. So the entire population of Ai, including men and women, was wiped out that day, 12,000 in all. For Joshua kept holding out his spear until everyone who had lived in Ai was completely destroyed. Only the livestock and the treasures of the town were not destroyed, for the Israelites kept these as plunder for themselves, as the Lord had commanded Joshua. So Joshua burned the town of Ai, and it became a permanent mound of ruins, desolate to this very day. Joshua impaled the king of Ai on a sharpened pole and left him there until evening. At sunset, the Israelites took down the body, as Joshua commanded, and threw it in front of the town gate. They piled a great heap of stones over him that can still be seen today. Then Joshua built an altar to the Lord, the God of Israel, on Mount Ebal, he followed the commands that Moses, the Lord's servant, had written in the book of instructions. Make me an altar from stones that were uncut and have not been shaped with iron tools. Then on the altar they presented burnt offerings and peace offerings to the Lord. And as the Israelites watched, Joshua copied onto the stones of the altar the instructions Moses had given them. Then all the Israelites, foreigners and native-born alike, along with the elders, officers, and judges, were divided into two groups. One group stood in front of Mount Gerizim and the other in front of Mount Ebal. Each group faced the other, and between them stood the Levitical priest carrying the ark of the Lord's covenant. This was all done according to the commands that Moses, the servant of the Lord, had previously given for blessing the people of Israel. Joshua then read to them all the blessings and curses Moses had written in the book of instruction. Every word of every command that Moses had ever given was read to the entire assembly of Israel, including the women and children and the foreigners who lived among them. Amen. So what did you think of Joshua chapter 8? I'm interested to hear about it in the comments below. Let me know what your insights or interpretations were on the chapter. Maybe comment your favorite verse, or just say hi and let us know that you're part of the community. And if you've been blessed lately, let us know so that we can rejoice with you. And if you need prayer, make sure you're putting that in the comments too so we can pray together as a community. Okay, so Joshua chapter 8 starts off with the Lord saying to Joshua, do not be afraid or discouraged. Take all your fighting men and attack Ai. So if you recall, just like a chapter ago, they tried to fight Ai and were defeated. So now the Lord's telling them to go back and attack Ai. And I wrote off the side, oh wait, before I say that, so what I think is so interesting about this is that sometimes God will send you back into battle facing something that defeated you before, and it can be daunting. You know, that's like PTSD, going into something where you failed before or where you were defeated before, and God is telling you to go in with confidence and don't be afraid and don't be discouraged. And that can be the hardest thing, to go into a situation where you failed before or where you were beaten before, and to still have confidence as you walk into that situation. And this time he's telling them to keep all the plunder. So if you recall, the reason why they lost the last time was because somebody disobeyed God and kept some of the plunder for themselves. So this time God's saying that they can keep the plunder. And I wrote aside, be obedient and wait for God, and he will give you everything. So there are seasons when God will refrain you from indulging in things or having things, and then there'll be seasons where God will give to you abundantly. And whichever season that you're in, you have to be obedient to God. So if right now you are in, so to speak, a period of famine, we have to just be resourceful and trust in God and his sovereignty over the situation, and trust that soon you will have a season of abundance. And then he gives them a fighting plan for what to do. So they kind of use the fact that they were defeated to confuse their enemies. And I think that that's great. So a lot of the times God will use your defeats as for your advantage in the future. So in this case, they were meant to be chased, so that they wanted the people in Ai to chase them out of town so that they would leave the town vulnerable, so that the Israelites could come and attack the town and overtake the town. So by the time the people realized the town was being overtaken, it would be too late. So we get all the way through, and the town was left wide open. And this is the best part. So the Lord said to Joshua, point the spear in your hand towards Ai, for I will hand the town over to you. And then in verse 26, it says, for Joshua kept holding out the spear until everyone who lived in Ai was completely destroyed. So this is just another example of how God is putting Joshua through some of the same experiences that Moses went through. So if you recall, Moses parted the Red Sea. Joshua parted the Jordan. And then in a similar battle, Moses was meant to hold up his hands in praise to God. And as long as his hands were being raised, the people were victorious. And in this situation, Joshua was meant to point the spear towards Ai, and as long as he had it pointed, they were victorious, and he pointed it until they were all destroyed. So this is just another example for us of what to do when we're in battle, just to remember that we are to praise God through the battle. And then So then the Lord's covenant is renewed. So Joshua built an altar to the Lord, and he did it just as the way Moses commanded, to uncut stones that haven't been shaped with tools, and they presented their burnt offerings to the Lord. And then they were divided into two groups, and they were reading the instructions that Moses gave them, the blessings and the curses. And it says every word of every command that Moses had ever given was read to the entire community of Israel, including the women and the children, the foreigners who lived among them. So again, after great victory, it's important to remind yourself of all of God's commands, because you want to make sure you're obedient. If anything that they learned in this battle was that when they were disobedient to God, they lost. And when they were obedient to God, they won, and they were able to receive all of God's blessings through the battle. So that is my interpretation of Joshua chapter 8. I'm interested to hear what you have to say about it. Leave it in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I hope you stay blessed, stay in God's presence, and have a great rest of your day. I love you.